And right here tonight at 5, Kentuckians are now less than 2 months away from placing sports bets in our state. Right in time for football season. The new development today means your bet is a sure one in just a few months. Hello, everybody. I'm Doug Proffitt.
And I'm Shay McAllister. Today, authorities approved regulations and gave the official timeline for the retail sports books to open up. Isaiah Kim Martinez listened into the special meeting today. And Isaiah, what did we learn?
Well, Shay, Doug, two major dates to keep in mind right now at this point. That's September 7th. Starting on that date, Kentuckians will be able to bet in person at retail sports books across the state. Then, starting September 28th, they'll be able to bet online, including through apps right on their phones. Now, state officials today ecstatic with the speed of this rollout. Just past 3 months since House Bill 551 was signed into law. Kentucky leaders, including Governor Andy Beshear, put pen to paper on a list of emergency regulations, ensuring sports wagering is available by the start of the NFL season.
It's going to work. It's going to be a pretty seamless experience.
A move Beshear estimates will bring in $23 million annually in tax revenue, money that's long gone to neighboring states instead.
When you think about losing $23+ million, that's going to pave other people's roads. That's going to help with health care for other people's kids. This is about keeping our dollars at home.
A quick turnaround some deemed to be a tall order became official. The Kentucky Horse Racing Commission, tasked with overseeing the operation, broke down the standards operators will have to meet.
We have all the staffing and resources necessary to get the job done.
With these regulations, Kentucky can be sure that their bets are safe, their money is protected, and there is effective oversight.
Now, starting Tuesday, each of the state's 9 horse racing facilities can apply for a retail sports book at their main location or a licensed satellite location. An example being Derby City Gaming for Churchill Downs. In-person sports betting sites are good to launch by September 7th, though Beshear says tracks in construction could choose to open later. By September 28th, online and mobile betting will follow suit, with each licensed track allowed to partner with 3 companies. Keeneland and Red Mile already partnering with Caesars Sportsbook. Churchill Downs and FanDuel voicing their intention to work with each other.
You see exactly why we knew the Racing Commission was the right place for this to be housed and regulated.
Meanwhile, Kentucky State Representative Michael Meredith, one of the sponsors of the original bill, is confident they have the right safeguards in place for this initiative to be successful. And the Kentucky Horse Racing Commission confirms they've added 14 new positions specifically for this sports betting effort. As for the operators, Chairman Jonathan Rabinowitz says they'll start receiving and reviewing applications tomorrow. Quick note here, as for the Derby City Gaming location downtown, that's currently set to open in October 2023. That's this year. Doug.
Okay, important information there on that. Thank you, Isaiah. Churchill Downs, which owns the Derby City Gaming location downtown, applauding today's move, saying in a statement, quote, "We're excited for the opportunities sports betting brings for tourism and economic development across the Commonwealth, and for the chance to welcome new guests into our entertainment venues, to also wager on live and historical racing, which will further strengthen our state's signature equine industry." That's the end of their statement. Well, right now here tonight at 5, we do want to take a closer look at how fast Kentucky has put sports betting into place here tonight. The Commonwealth was the 37th state in the country to legalize sports betting. In Ohio, it took almost a year after legislation was passed before the first legal sports wagers were placed. Meantime, Indiana was much faster, taking less than 5 months to launch sports betting. Kentucky is scheduled to launch operations in just a few months, on par with Indiana.
Now let's take a look at revenue. Over in Indiana, they have made more than $99 million in tax revenue since 2019. That's almost $26 million a year on average. Governor Andy Beshear estimates that Kentucky sports betting will bring in $23 million in annual tax revenue.
More local news here tonight. Heads up, JCPS parents. The school district is warning you to disregard, throw out the school start time postcard that you may have received in the mail starting today. It's a mistake. There's a printing mistake on it that is costing the school district some money as well. The district says about 93,000 postcards were sent out to families. They still don't know how many had the printing error listing the wrong school starting times or the wrong school. The printing error will be a costly one. We asked JCPS and the district told us it cost them over $3,000 to print the postcards and over $15,000 to ship them out to families. The district does plan to send out brand new postcards and says you can start the JCPS you can check the JCPS Start Smart page. Again, Start Smart page online for clarification. As for those start times, remember they vary. They will be staggered and range from 7:40 in the morning to 9:40 a.m. for middle, elementary, and high schools.
Well, certainly a nice surprise to wake up this morning and feel a break in the humidity. It felt like the perfect weather, and for July.
I know, lower humidity in July, that is a gift for Kentuckiana, but we know that gift's going to be returned to sender pretty soon here. Ben Pine is joining us because what are you bringing in here, Ben? A lot of rain?
Yeah, some fairly rare air for this time of the year. We will have some rain chances returning later in our work week, but a quiet start to the week. A marvelous Monday out there with the humidity low at 40% and those temperatures a little bit below normal. 86 our high today. That's where we are now. And our normal high for this time of the year is 89 degrees. So feeling pretty good for a third of the way through the month of July. 81 in Paoli, same in Brandenburg, Elizabethtown, LaGrange, 82. So mostly seeing those lower 80s and a big area of high pressure clearing out the sky. So no storms anywhere close to us. Of course, we've had a fairly unsettled weather pattern this month of July, and we'll get back to that. It looks like by Thursday. For tonight, low temperatures, low to mid 60s. Could be a little patchy fog thanks to the quiet conditions, the light winds, clear sky, and also still some of that moisture in the ground. Tomorrow afternoon, we start to heat up. Typical July temperatures in the mid to upper 80s, but the humidity will still be a little bit below normal, and it will be all dry for our Tuesday. So your forecast tonight, patchy fog, low temperature 67, 83 at lunchtime tomorrow, and our high temperature up to near 90 degrees. Now again, just a little bit later this week, we're tracking the return of some storms, and I'll show you when it's going to be the wettest coming up.
All right, Ben, thank you very much. Today, Tell City laid one of its officers to rest, remembering the life and service of Officer Heather Glenn. Officer Glenn was shot and killed 1 week ago while trying to arrest a domestic violence suspect at Perry County Memorial Hospital. Hundreds of people showed up for her visitation over the weekend, and today funeral services were held at Tell City's high school auditorium. Speakers shared how Officer Glenn truly cared about her community, sometimes giving help to the city's most vulnerable.
In uniform, Heather exemplified the professionalism, heroism, and courage that only the best officers possess. It was her actions out of uniform that truly defined who she was. Heather never passed an opportunity to help someone in need. She had a way of making others feel loved, particularly those less fortunate.
Speakers asked for the community to remember Officer Glenn's actions and use them as inspiration to check on their neighbors, a way to honor her memory.
Newly installed flock cameras helped Oldham County Police make an arrest in a deadly hit and run that happened in Crestwood. 25-year-old Jose Gutierrez Sanchez is charged with leaving the scene of an accident, and he's also charged with manslaughter. It happened over the weekend at 12:30 a.m. Saturday morning. Police say a vehicle hit and killed a pedestrian on Kentucky 146th and fled the scene. And a flock camera that had just been installed, in fact, was active for just only about 12 hours, helped them identify the 1999 Dodge Durango involved in this. They discovered it at a home about a mile away from the crash, where they also arrested Gutierrez there.
A southern Indiana woman accused of killing her granddaughter in a hit and run has been caught in Louisville. According to Jeffersonville police, Lisa Tesh hit and killed her 18-month-old granddaughter, Eleanor Campbell, at the Motel 6 just off I-65 and Eastern Boulevard in Jeffersonville. Over the weekend, she was arrested in Louisville on outstanding warrants, and there you can see her in court today. Police say surveillance video shows Tesh running over the toddler and then fleeing the scene. According to LMPD, detectives from both sides of the river were working to track her down. Police say they discovered her staying with a family member in the Shawnee neighborhood. Both are now in custody on unrelated warrants.
A Shepherdsville man charged with murder, DUI, and reckless driving after a weekend crash. Police say 27-year-old Jesse Brown was behind the wheel Saturday night, driving onto the Gene Snyder ramp off of Preston at a high rate of speed. He lost control and hit a concrete wall. That caused his car to go airborne. His passenger was thrown from the car and later died. And a toxicology report revealed Brown's blood alcohol level was .164. That's more than double the legal limit in Kentucky.
And now we want you to take a look at your screen. Police in Washington, D.C. say this is the man who killed Oldham County High School teacher Max Emerson. The 25-year-old teacher was shot on the campus of a Catholic university last weekend. D.C. police are offering a $25,000 reward for information leading to the arrest of a suspect. Meanwhile, the Emerson family is still in the process of planning that funeral.
Convicted former USA gymnastics team Dr. Larry Nassar was assaulted in prison over the weekend, according to two sources familiar with the situation. One source telling ABC News Nassar was stabbed several times while serving time for sexually assaulting dozens of female members of the U.S. gymnastics team. Here's ABC's Rena Roy bringing us the latest.
Convicted former USA gymnastics team Dr. Larry Nassar suffering substantial injuries, including an apparent collapsed lung after being stabbed 6 times in the neck and back. A source tells ABC News, saying Nassar was housed in a unit with all inmates convicted of sexual assault, and it's unclear what the motive may have been. A source telling ESPN that Nassar was stabbed during an altercation with another incarcerated person while serving time at this high-security federal prison in Florida for sexually assaulting multiple gymnasts, including superstars Simone Biles and Aly Raisman. The Bureau of Prisons confirmed that an inmate was assaulted on Sunday afternoon and said no one else was hurt. Sources telling ABC officials have identified at least one suspect, a fellow inmate, but are looking through video footage to see if anyone else was involved. Nassar was convicted on both federal and state charges after dozens of women came forward accusing him of sexually assaulting them, some addressing Nassar directly in this Michigan courtroom back in 2018 when he was sentenced by a state judge.
Larry meticulously groomed me for the purpose of exploiting me for his sexual gain.
I have experienced flashback nightmares of the abuse.
More than 150 women giving victim impact statements in the case.
You seem to have a hard time looking at me now, but you didn't when I was half naked on your table.
Nassar pleading guilty, addressing his accusers in court.
There are no words that can describe the depth and breadth of how sorry I am for what has occurred.
Sources tell ABC Nassar is in stable condition, but the extent of his injuries is unclear. Rena Roy, ABC News, New York.